Hello everyone, in this video I'll be working on this simple Boids project that I started a few weeks ago. It has a few simple rules. The first one is for them to avoid colliding, so they move away from each other. The next rule I added is that they try to go in the same direction so that they're all lined up together. And the last rule just makes them try to form groups and move towards each other. And these rules together make these interesting patterns and movements. So I made this because a while ago I watched a Boids video by Sebastian Lage, and it seemed really interesting, so I thought I would make it myself. I kind of did a similar thing to what he did, but in a bit of a different way. Like whether or not it's moving away from each other, with each other, or towards each other is all dependent on the distance that they are from other Boids, and it smoothly transitions between them. So if they're super close together, here you can see if they're super close together, it's mostly just moving away from them. If it's like a medium distance, then it's trying to go the same direction. Like here in this green area, like they're trying to go the same direction. And then if they're blue, which is far away, if they're far away from others, then they try to move together so they can be in a group. So these simple rules, I just have them blur between them depending on the distance. So the next thing I want to add is some obstacle avoidance, so I can have like a square here or something and have them avoid it, and also have proper walls around it. But yeah, I also added in, if I select them and enable in my control, so these white ones are trying to follow the mouse. And it's fun because you can go through the other group and you can like influence which way the entire group is going, and you can see these other ones just following along and trying to stay with it. So I'm trying to think of like a game idea, something fun to make with this, but this is what I have for now. Next I want to try to work on obstacle avoidance. So I've added in this simple obstacle avoidance, but I'm having this issue of sometimes they get out. Like as you can see here, they can get out and clip through the wall. But I've spent enough time on this, I'll work on something else. But first I'll just show you how I made it real quick. So in my movement script, I have like a spot where I add a bunch of vector 2s together here. Like there's one for avoiding wall, which is what I just made, a find unobstructed direction function, and it returns a vector 2. It also adds the away look. This just makes them go together, and then this makes them go towards each other, and then away look direction makes them go away from each other so they don't hit into each other. And I just have them each multiplied by a strength, so you can control that. I have each of those set to 1 by default. In the find the unobstructed direction function, it's pretty simple. So there's a vector 2 direction, and by default it's set to 0. It scans like 20 angles, so like forwards, sideways, like this kind of thing, until it's scanning backwards. And it does that on either side at the same time, so like scans here and here in front of it, and then here and here. And then if it's like obstructed in front of it, then it looks to the next angle beside it, and if that's obstructed as well, it looks to the next angle beside that. And it does this on either side. If that's obstructed, it looks further and further back until it finds an open area, and then it returns this vector, so it needs to go in that direction, which is like the closest unobstructed spot that's like close to its front side, so that it needs to turn less. So it loops through each of the angles, and then it scans each angle, and until it returns a vector 2.0, which means it didn't hit anything. So if it didn't hit anything, then we set the direction equal to what we got from that angle when we scan that angle, and then we return the direction dot normalized. So it returns a normalized vector 2. And down here, to scan the angle, this is the main meat of the code, the complicated part. But it's quite simple. I'll just explain it. So the position, this is just like a vector 2 of the position, so I don't need to copy this everywhere. So it does one raycast hit to the right side and 1 raycast hit to the left side, and it increments them like, how do I explain this? Like 10 is forwards, 0 is 90 degrees to the right, and -10 is straight backwards. So like if my cursor is the fish facing and it's facing upwards, then this would be 10, this would be 0, and this would be -10. It's that kind of thing, and it scans between them, like around it. So another thing that I added real quick was it puts all of these fish in the hierarchy into a list, a Boids list. And this is just useful because you can toggle on or off the move away from each other, move with, and move towards. So if you turn all of these off, they only have basic obstacle avoidance. And this is really satisfying to see each one get turned on gradually. So right now they're all just moving straight and not doing anything. If you turn on move away, then they try to not hit each other, and it just looks like this big mess of fish going around. Then if you turn on move with, this is when they begin to move together, and it looks really nice. And then if you turn on move towards, they try to get into a group together and move towards each other. And it's quite satisfying. So I'll continue refining this and adding more features.